Hi, my name's Rachel, and today we're talking about another book that the upsetty spaghetti weirdos over at Moms for Liberty are banning from schools for absolutely no good reason. And in this case, often proving that they didn't even read it. Today's book is Assassination Classroom. We're talking about Volume 1, and we're going to talk a little bit about Volume 2. My resident county book banner is Julie Gebhardt. Hey girl! She and some other idiots have complained at my school board about Assassination Classroom, the entire series. When I found out that Julie was having a hissy fit about this book 2 years ago, I read it and did this video. 2 years later, I'm still fighting this woman, and I now have a book club called Julie Hates This Book Club. And we read it again this year in May to commemorate Julie's hissy fit 2 years ago. But now, my idiot superintendent instructed all of the media specialists in my county to ban 55 books and also remove about 600 titles for review, including Assassination Classroom. You can read more about this. Florida Freedom to Read project has an entire thing on it. It's a disaster. Different video coming on that. My thoughts did change on Assassination Classroom Volume 1 a little bit, but I still disagree with Julie. 2 years ago, like 25 people showed up at my kid's school board trying to get it banned, most of them not public schools parents. Let's see what they were saying. It'll be fun, I swear. Surely not just a bunch of unintelligent idiots with bad faith arguments.
This is a story of students plotting to kill their teacher. Page 112. A man grabs the girl who looks to be about 9. Sounds like human trafficking. And he says, "Don't worry, your mother's just taking a new job." And he throws the little girl to the floor and says, "Maybe you'd like to help your mom with her work. You could pay her debt back faster that way. He, he, he." That's despicable.
There are apparently rape scenes in which grown men throw 9-year-old looking girls onto the ground and climb on them. I don't know, I haven't seen it myself, but this is what I heard from the meeting today.
We'll hear more from them in a minute, but I just want to point out that these people haven't read the book. They went looking for stuff that looked bad on the page and explained it with no context to my kids' school board, which was what the now defunct website BookLooks, which was Moms for Liberty's absolute favorite website, was entirely for. Just a place where you could find information on a book and regurgitate it at other people's children's school boards. People just used to print off what BookLooks said about Assassination Classroom and then send it into a school trying to get it banned. My God, what are these people doing now that BookLooks is gone? Rest in piss. Maybe one of us should make a better website, giving actual context for all of these targeted books. If you'd like to do that, you can do so with the help of today's sponsor, which is Squarespace. Squarespace can help you make any kind of website you would like to help you stand out in the vast ocean that is the internet. Squarespace is an all-in-one website building platform that makes it so easy for you to have a beautiful, professional-looking website of your own for you to create or sell or talk about whatever it is you do in front of your audience. Whether you're an author trying to market your books, or you're an artist looking to sell your art, or you're looking to create the new and next BookLooks with a much better layout. Good God. Or maybe you're looking for a place to sell your "Hey, don't ban books" merch. Squarespace is a great place for you to set up a website, showcase your services or your goods, market your skills, or do book reviews. No, seriously, somebody make the next BookLooks website. I haven't done that, but I have made my website, readswithrachel.com. It has all the places you can find me, info about my book club, the aforementioned Julie Hates This Book Club, yes. You can join my book club Discord from a link on my website. I have FAQs there like, are you still doing beta reads? And Squarespace made this so easy for me. I, like the people who created BookLooks, don't know anything about creating a website, but no worries because Squarespace has great templates that make it so easy for me to just customize according to my preferences. So whatever it is that you do, whether you're marketing your skills, selling your merch, whether you're a reviewer, editor, author, or a crochet nerd, Squarespace can help you make a beautiful website customized to your preferences. And even if you're not familiar with something like e-commerce, which can be really difficult to navigate, Squarespace has e-commerce tools and a custom merch service that you can utilize without having to worry about things like inventory, shipping. So whatever your online presence or your business or both is, Squarespace can help you to organize it and market it to your audience. For a free trial, go to squarespace.com, and when you're ready to launch, you can use the QR code on the screen or go to squarespace.com/readswithrachel for 10% off your first domain or website. That's squarespace.com/readswithrachel. The link is down below, and thank you so much to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. No, I'm serious, booklooks.net is available. Which one of you is gonna go buy it? Please? All right, so as you can see, these people do not like Assassination Classroom. Even though they haven't actually read it, we're gonna talk about the banning of it because if you on the off chance have not heard of Assassination Classroom, have not read it, have not watched the manga, the anime, have not heard of this series before, I would love for this to happen, and let me know if this is you. I would love for you to have the experience of going into this video completely blind, because I know that a lot of you have seen the anime or ever read the manga. I know because we have talked about this before, and I love all of you who gave such wonderful feedback on Assassination Classroom, but I would love to hear about the experience of somebody who goes into this video and just hears first and foremost a bunch of lies out of context from censorship advocates, and then have me come in and be the reasonable person who clears up the misinformation with context for you after the fact. But just know the out of context synopsis is a group of students are tasked with killing their teacher. No context, that's the synopsis, okay? No context, no nuance, no more information. A group of students is tasked with killing their teacher. That's all Moms for Liberty wants you to know, so that's all you're gonna know up front. Context and nuance either matters to you or it doesn't. So let's hear from all the folks who context and nuance do not matter to at all, first and foremost. Let's let them speak their piece. We're gonna let them run through their thoughts on the book. This includes Julie Gebhardt's, who is my resident county book banner. All of the clips I'm about to show you are posted on Julie Gebhardt's Instagram account. They are still there to this very day. They are 2 years old, and they also depict, Julie took from our Hillsborough County Public Schools YouTube channel clips of this poor unfortunate woman, Heather, who I have seen at the school board multiple times in the 2 years I've been going. Heather, she's so unable to understand books and is so like meek and soft-spoken and upset and next to tears about everything. I genuinely feel bad for her almost. And then some lady who is turning Assassination Classroom into the 2020s version of, if you play this record backwards, it says Satan and it will make the teens do the sins, save the children. So let's let them talk and I will give you my feedback on their weird shenanigans.
I'm just going to read a few sections out of volume 21 of Assassination Classroom.
First and foremost, I want to point out here, Heather, that you are talking about volume 21, and yet Julie decided to put next to your face volume 1. I don't know how to tell you this, but volume 1 and volume 21 are different. If we're going to be honest, we need to say which volumes we're talking about, Julie, and not use other people to lie. Volume 21 looks like this, volume 1 looks like this, and Google is still free, last I checked.
On page 110 through 111, an evil-looking man corners a blind woman, and licks her face and then grabs her and then says, "We'll discuss your payment plan at my office. With your looks and your bod, it's a shame to waste all that in a dingy dive like this. Even better, you're blind. Politicians and CEOs will pay big bucks for you to preserve their anonymity." I don't think any child should have this as a window to see the world through.
Evil looking man doing bad things is not ban a book worthy. Depicting an evil man doing bad things is not actually against Florida statutes regarding books. I know, this is gonna shock you. Also, the evil looking man isn't who we're depicting as the good guy here. Are you also going to try to ban the Bible because of the guy who stabbed Jesus in the side when he was on the cross? Did you see that? That book says he stabbed Jesus. Do we want kids to think it's okay to stab Jesus? Come on. Jesus Christ. Oh my God, literally.
It's terrible. Page 112, a man grabs the girl who looks to be about 9. Sounds like human trafficking. And he says, "Don't worry, your mother's just taking a new job." And he throws the little girl to the floor and says, "Maybe you'd like to help your mom with her work. You could pay her debt back faster that way, he. That's despicable. We don't want to teach our children to do that kind of thing. Oh my gosh. It triggers me so bad, I can hardly stand it.
Yes, Heather, it is despicable. He's the bad guy.
In page 122, an evil-looking man gives the mom and her young daughter a contract to sign and says, "There's no way you're going to be able to pay off the debt without using your body. Let me show you what's what." Is that what we want to teach our kids? They pay off debts with their bodies?
Heather, are you stupid?
Emotionally connect with a character and feel really immersed in the story. We get an opportunity to try on that character's identity for a while to see what it feels like.
Someone said in the comments of this is giving video games cause school shootings.
Some research shows our own identities can temporarily grow to include the thoughts, feelings, and experiences of fictional characters. So, Assassination Classroom. The name itself should have given pause to whoever vetted these books. This is a story of students plotting to kill their teacher.
You will see actually that the entire comment section is just full of people making fun of Julie for not understanding anime and not understanding manga and also not understanding reading and having no reading comprehension. Wait, she didn't read the book, so...
I ask you, is this something you want middle or high schoolers to immerse themselves in the characters? It's common sense. I would hope your answer would be no and pull these books. It's not about religion, it's not about politics, it's not about race, gender, or any of those things. However, what it is about is what exactly is this series of books teaching the children? How is it affecting the minds of 11 to 14-year-olds? Your job is to protect the students from harmful material. It's hard to believe if you try to defend these books, and it's not fair to teachers. If you choose to keep these books, you're failing your teachers, you're failing your students, and you're failing your community.
This is failing our teachers. I just want to remind y'all that a year after this, all these same people came to complain about a millage that would have affected Hillsborough County citizens barely at all, but would have allowed us through pennies to raise more money to create jobs that would have brought in better teachers, because our teacher retention in this county is terrible. This is also the same group of people who literally showed up to this exact same podium and said that they wanted less money for special education, which affects my kids. This is also the people who said that they want to fire media specialists and replace them with parents. Y'all are the ones who don't care about teachers. Hysterical.
When all it takes is one student to want to fully immerse themselves in the character and to act on what this book is depicting.
It only takes one. Oh, well, in that case, it's time to ban the Bible too, because it only takes one person to say, you know what, I'm gonna stab that dude Jesus in the side. Like, what do you mean? You have to actually make evidence-based decisions. You can't preemptively like, I know that y'all love preemptive strikes, but you can't just decide, hey, we're not gonna stock this because somebody might read it hypothetically and decide to do something that's depicted in this book. If that's the standard, then all of the books have to go, including the ones you guys like. That is not the state standard for how we decide which books stay and which books go. Oh my God, this is such a basic concept. Here's our girl, Julie.
Assassination classroom, which we have in our schools, middle schools. Now, this book is primarily rated teen plus, which means older teens, like 16 and over, 17 and over. I'm not even sure. Okay, so it's rated teen plus because it has violence, it has rape, it has, it has kids in classroom holding guns pointed toward their teacher. They're shooting. There's all sorts of really awful imagery in the books. Listening to what is in these books, oh my goodness, I literally cannot even believe this. It is absolutely insane. So this is just from what I listened to at the board meeting today. Now, I guarantee many of those board members hated hearing this, but there are apparently rape scenes in which grown men throw 9-year-old looking girls onto the ground and climb on them. I don't know. I haven't seen it myself, but this is what I heard from the meeting today. I don't know. I haven't seen it myself.
She says, I haven't read it, but Heather over here said there's a 9-year-old and a rape scene. You haven't read it. So now you're just spreading information from Heather, who also didn't read it.
There's men apparently like with heart eyes toward these 9-year-old looking girls and talking about trafficking. What on earth are we thinking? Putting rape of small children and talking about trafficking children in books, like, and presented as a good thing?
Y'all just keep saying talking about trafficking as if we can't talk about trafficking. Talking about trafficking is not saying trafficking good. I'll remind you that in this county, Lynn Gray runs a whole thing. Lynn Gray is on our school board. Lynn Gray runs a whole thing trying to prevent trafficking. We prevent trafficking by talking about trafficking. The book is not depicting trafficking good. What are y'all saying?
And then we get a media specialist standing up there saying, I support making it site-based, meaning parents can challenge one book at a time at each site. Then it goes through the process for book removal. So we have probably 5 or 6 people peppered into the people talking about Assassination Classroom saying we need to keep it a site-based book challenge process. That's one book at a time. These middle schools contain I don't know if some of them contain the full series or most of the series or many books in the series. I cannot even believe this is happening in Hillsborough County right now.
Of course you got mad at the media specialist for following the process that allows an actual parent to challenge a book at the site of the school rather than banning it for the entire county.
It's not safe to put these in the hands of middle school kids. I just cannot believe.
It's not safe to put these in the hands. Julie, that is not a fact. That is an opinion. You can't just say things. Are you aware that wars have been fought over religion, and yet you do not see anybody from your crowd saying ban the Bible? And that is a book that's literally telling you how to live your life. It's not even a work of fiction.
Assassination Classroom. I mean, the title alone should make every librarian hit a huge pause and go, wait, what are we putting in there? And then read the books, for heaven's sake.
I love that you said read the books, for heaven's sake, but you haven't read the book. You haven't read it up to this point. You're just like, read the books, for heaven's sake. Not me, though.
All these students that their entire goal is to assassinate their teacher.
Their entire goal is to kill their teacher. Julie, what are you leaving out? What are you leaving out? What context are you leaving out? I don't think you care. Never mind.
You plant seeds of ideas in these kids' minds.
You plant the seeds of ideas. Again, this is not the standard by which we decide which books stay and go. And you don't have any proof of that. This book is read internationally. So what you would need to do is you would need to find all of the places where Assassination Classroom is read, and you would need to draw a direct causal link between this book being read and higher rates of violence from students against their teachers. That evidence doesn't exist because it doesn't happen. And just because you think, hypothetically, you have created this insane hypothetical where you think that that might happen, that your absolutely asinine hypotheticals are not the determining factor by which we decide which books stay and go. I know you desperately want them to be, but the actual parents of Hillsborough County, me, don't want that to be the standard because that's fucking dumb.
Children identify with characters, and sometimes they take on the role of characters that they're reading about in stories, especially middle school students. They don't have fully developed brain yet, and they're not very good at separating those graphic imagery scenes in their minds from reality, because they're very realistic situations.
They might take on the roles of characters. Okay, Julie, sure thing. You know what? I watched an awful lot of VeggieTales in my life. I really did. I assume your kids did too. Should we all link hands and sing Barbara Manatee? No matter how many times I watched the VeggieTales Jonah, I never in my life decided to go get swallowed by a fucking whale. Not a once. Not a one time did I try to get swallowed by a goddamn whale. That's not how this works. When you are setting laws and demands of other people's children's educational environment, you have to bring evidence to the table, not your personal feelings, which are weird as fuck. You would have to make the case that the number of copies which you're currently complaining about, with each new copy, there's a direct line to violence against teachers by students. That is what you would have to prove in order for us Hillsborough County Public Schools parents who want evidence-based decisions to agree with you that this book is a problem. That evidence isn't in existence because that's not happening. It shouldn't be too much to ask for me, the parent that you're pretending to advocate for, to say, hey, if you're going to do this, if you're gonna camp this hard for my kids, allegedly, you better bring evidence to the table. That isn't a big ask, Julie.
There's some twisted people running our middle school libraries. I don't even understand. I really cannot fathom.
I really don't appreciate you saying twisted people running libraries. I really don't fucking appreciate that. I have taken it upon myself in the last 2 years that I've been doing this shtick with you to meet as many libraries as I can, librarians in Hillsborough County as I can, which, by the way, as it was said at our last school board meeting, actually, I'll let Marie speak for herself because she's an actual media specialist and I feel like you need to hear this. Even if you don't care, my audience will, and me dispelling your lies in front of my audience is kind of like my job now, to dispel your misinformation.
I am a librarian and I've just finished my 8th year in Hillsborough County, and I'm very proud to work in this district. I am proud, and I drive from Manatee County every day, and thank you all. And many of you have come to my library, and I'm very honored that my outdoor makerspace is in the boardroom. I did not know until I arrived today. But I noticed and I paid attention to the motto that we prepare students for life, every student, every day. And that's who I'm here to speak for. Also, the reason, rather than being illiterate, you have the most educated and highly certified staff in the state of Florida. There's a reason Hillsborough County is on so many state boards. Our librarians are on the board for the next media specialist certification test, which is now under review. We also had librarians on the board that approved the training that all librarians in the state of Florida go through. There's a reason. We know our rights, and that is why we did not fold in fear. We stood up for our students, and you represent those students and families, and like they said, the voters in this county, and they have defeated people that want to take away the rights. You have your board seats because they believe in the direction that we're headed in Hillsborough County. I just want you to know, because of this decision that was announced to pull the books, there are 5 districts who have decided to do the same, even though that is a violation of our district policy. And the state law says if we violate district policy, we are violating state law. So you need to change the district policy if we're going to pull books against policy.
These are not twisted people. These are educated professionals. And just because you sat in meetings with them and they haven't capitulated to your non-public school's parent will does not mean they are bad people. They are just people doing their jobs in a way that you don't like because you're weird. What's next? Are you going to say that the twisted people are also the parents now? Oh, you can't say that out loud because then your entire audience is going to turn against you, right?
Left-wing people who are hell-bent on destroying our children. I can't see it any other way.
Oh my God, the fact that you said, I can't see it any other way. Can't see it any other way. You can't see a book that you haven't read any other way? You can't? I don't know, try reading it. Now's the part where Julie just gets xenophobic. Who saw that coming?
Well, I'm back here to talk about manga again because apparently I have poked the beehive, gotten more response over Assassination Classroom posts than anything else I've ever posted, which is really interesting to me. Tells me I'm onto something.
Oh, it tells you you're onto something, does it? That's hilarious. It tells me that you haven't read the book still. Time's a wasting, bitch.
The people that have commented against me, if you check out their little Instagram pages, you'll see that they are avid manga followers. Most of them, almost all of them, are exclusively super manga people. So quite disturbing, actually, if you look at some of the links. Quite honestly, the more I look into this manga stuff, the more troubled I am. If anyone has any insight into the themes of manga or what I should be looking for, I'd love to know that, because we have a lot of manga books in our school libraries, including another huge set of Demon Slayer books that have just been added to a middle school here in my area.
Hey, that's just racist and xenophobic, you asshole. You decided, I'm going to generalize an entire genre of fiction because it comes from outside of the US, and I'm not going to read it for myself to form an opinion. I'm just going to be a xenophobic piece of shit. Woof! You are never beating the Marjorie Taylor Greene knockoff allegations, I fear.
What country are you? Wait, what country are you from?
From the UK.
Okay, we don't give a about your opinion and your reporting. Why don't you go back to your country where you have a major migrant problem?
We're going to keep digging into this stuff and exposing as much as we can so that parents know what's going on. Because quite honestly, I don't think they do. If you have any thoughts you'd like to share, I'd be grateful.
I love that you said, if you have thoughts, let me know. Here I am. I'm letting you know. Do you read manga?
I haven't did it in a long time.
Have you read manga before?
Yes.
What's your favorite manga?
Dragon Ball.
Who introduced you to Dragon Ball manga?
Dad. No, wait. Maybe Beck Bro Jack?
Your dad, not Beck Bro Jack. Your dad introduced you.
I didn't know.
Your literal father introduced you to Dragon Ball and bought you Dragon Ball comics.
No, I actually heard it from Beck Bro Jack.
That's not true, Your Honor.
No. They don't believe her.
That's not true, Your Honor.
No.
He's like, objection?
No.
Witness is badgering? What? So you like manga?
Yeah.
What is manga?
It's like a book series, but it's like anime.
And anime is from what country?
Japan.
And should we label all anime and manga bad just because it comes from a different country?
No.
Should you read a book first before you have an opinion on it?
Yes.
Case closed. Thanks, Julie. You can go.
Can we do that again?
Can we do it again?
Yeah.
Do you want to start being on the channel again?
Yes.
All right, well, you're still too young to read Assassination Classroom, but we could talk about a different manga. Or what book are you reading? Oh, Warriors! He started reading Warriors.
It's the best.
He says it's the best. So, Warriors graphic novel, I just got it for him. Shout out Tambolo Books. And yeah, so that's what that's what Havery's currently reading. Go eat a snack. You can have more blackberries. Oh my God, I love when my 8-year-old proves other people wrong. Oh, it's just delicious. I can't believe you had to have an 8-year-old explain manga to you. What a fucking loser, Julie. Oh my God, that's delicious. God, not an actual public schools parent and an actual public school student having to prove you that you're a fucking dunce. So good. Then there's also Julie's best friend, Kelly, who once tried to lure me from my home under false pretenses. Yep, that happened. Moms for Liberty is never beating the creep allegations. Kelly repeats what Julie said at the time. We have 70 copies of these in middle schools, and the reading levels is anything from YA to 10 to T12 plus. Of course, again, that is all information that she regurgitated from Julie, who regurgitated it from Heather, who regurgitated it probably from now defunct Book Looks. And on it goes. I just find it really interesting that Kelly and Julie are saying stuff that makes me ask the question, so the problem is the guns then? Is that y'all's problem then? Because if so, do I have some terrible news for you about the state that you and I live in? So now that you have their side of the story and a little bit of mine, maybe you're even still siding with them because you think, well, Rachel, how can you possibly defend a book about students trying to assassinate their teacher? So let's talk about context. Let somebody who's marginally more smart than these chucklefucks give you all the context that they left out. They're hoping you won't know it or care about it, and instead be somebody who looks at their posts online or a picture that they post online and then descend into being a cog in an angry outrage machine run by the Moms for Liberty outrage manufacturer. But that is not me. So let me tell you about Assassination Classroom, Volume 1 in particular, because I have read Volume 1 and most of Volume 2, but I'm not enjoying it, so I keep putting it down. Hey, I want to ask you something. Have you heard of a book called Assassination Classroom or the anime?
No.
No? It's about an alien octopus who takes a job as a teacher, and he's also going to destroy the world, but he says, I want to teach this class of students who has a hard time learning. And so he takes the time to teach them according to how they learn individually. Does that sound like a good book to you?
Yes.
Case closed. So in Assassination Classroom, an alien octopus-looking creature destroys most of the moon and threatens to destroy the Earth next. And then he's like, hey, by the way, because he can talk, I would like to teach this class at this junior high. So the government says, sure thing, evil alien octopus. You can teach that class at that junior high. It's not like anything that we do stops you. But these students of the class called Class E, which is treated like absolute crap, is tasked with killing this alien octopus before graduation because, again, he threatened to destroy the Earth. So the teacher in question is an alien octopus who's going to destroy the Earth. So sure, there are kids with guns, but also an alien octopus for a teacher. It's an absurd premise. It's trying to do some slapstick comedy, and it's trying to do some sci-fi moments, but then it does deeper social commentary. And this, I think, is what ultimately makes conservatives uncomfortable about the book, is the social commentary, because it's about classism. It is a critique of educational hierarchy that exists in a way in Japan that is different from in the United States. So some of the context of that is lost in this conversation, where if you're living in Japan reading this, you're going to relate to it more than you would if you are in the US reading it. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't enjoy it, get something out of it, learn something from it, see yourself in it. It just means that a little bit of that context is lost. But it's very easy to understand that the theme of this, even though it is absurd and it is supposed to be comedic, is also about how academic systems reinforce inequality. Ding, 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 we found the actual issue that they have. Conservatives don't like the word inequality because then they have to be accountable for reinforcing it. So we follow Class 3E, which are a bunch of misfits, and they all have very different personalities. And so they all take on this task of trying to kill this alien octopus who's going to destroy the world, who is also absurdly their teacher at the same time. And his name is Koro Sensei. So they are juggling doing homework while also trying to figure out how to assassinate this guy. Now, I want to point out to you that the guns that you see on page 1 of this are guns that shoot BB pellets, because you learn in this book that apparently the BB pellets are something that could possibly take out this alien octopus who can travel at, Mach 3? He can travel insanely fast. So while you're shooting at him, he's already over in a different country watching a baseball game. And then he's already made it back. And also he's tying your shoe. Like, it's supposed to be funny. And he's seemingly invincible, and yet the government is still telling this already subjugated class of students, you better take him out before before graduation. It's absurd. It's like a terrible dream where you're juggling 8 different things and one of them's on fire and one of them's a chainsaw, and suddenly you realize you're in your underwear in front of your entire school, and also a war's being waged outside. Like, it's absurd. So one minute you're laughing at Koro Sensei's goofy antics, this weird alien octopus creature whose face turns different colors based on his moods and his feelings, which one of the students realizes and is like taking notes and trying to figure out, okay, well, this color of face, like when he has like stripes, it means this, and when he's yellow, it means this. So you're laughing at Koro Sensei, and you're also like really interested in how these students take on this approach of trying to take out this alien octopus who's going to destroy the world, who also is teaching them how to do math. And then also, here comes the other thing that you're juggling. You're hit with the themes of self-worth in an academic environment and academic pressure and, you know, just being a kid, being a student. I will say it tries to skirt the line between being absurd and funny and also poignant, and this first book really leads into like the absurd and comedic more than the poignant. The art style is made to sort of express this as well, where we're switching from like these upbeats of these really big comedic moments, and the art style sort of matches that, and then the downbeats of the not so comedic, really emotionally tense moments. I think that I think it works very well. Like the art style, the intentionality there is, I think, quite smart. It is all done in black and white, so I sometimes have a problem getting the most out of a story when it is done in black and white. I assume that if I were to watch the anime, I would have a little bit different of an experience. But either way, the point is the book, it obviously, like volume 1 sets itself up where we are asking these deeper questions. It's definitely not just these are students trying to kill their teacher. Like, that is, wow, that is so reductive. It's honestly criminal. It's, you know, this alien octopus is flying around getting desserts in other countries and coming back and then having these moments where you're realizing that the point of the whole shtick was you're supposed to ask yourself, what makes a good teacher? What does it mean to find value in yourself even when your academic performance is not everybody else's academic performance? What does it mean to find value in you when society doesn't find value in you? Can underdogs rise above their station? How do teachers intervene in a way that actually helps students? There's a character named Nagisa who's one of our protagonists who is finding his strength. He's the one who's cataloging when you can tell when Koro Sensei's like moods are changing. He's an observationist. He's a strategist, more so than the strategist in Silver Elite that I read. Like, Nagisa is actually a strategist, and you don't really have to be told that. You're watching it unfold in front of your eyes. And then there's Karma, who is violent but also is a genius. Students in this school, which is Kunugigaoka Junior High School, are ranked by their performance, and these students that we're talking about, Nagisa, Karma, they're in the lowest, and they're treated like crap because of it. You're asking yourself, why? Why did Koro Sensei specifically say, I want to teach that group of students? It's weird. Why would an alien octopus care, especially when this alien octopus is going to destroy the earth anyways? They're put into a completely separate building where they have to walk. It's far from the school. They're publicly shamed by their other peers, and the school setting for them is just this constant cycle of being othered. And so why did this alien octopus choose them? Out of all of the classes in this, albeit like the entire thing is like this very toxic meritocracy, why did this alien octopus who's going to destroy the world choose them? And the students start to believe that they, like in ways, they start to believe that they almost deserve what's happening to them, that they are inherently less than, that they have less value, and that it's their fault that they ended up in class 3E. The setting itself is antagonistic. And then you have, you know, the alien octopus who you assume is going to be antagonistic, considering he's an actual threat to humanity, threatening to destroy the earth. But then he also happens to be a really good teacher, which, why would he even care? Why does he want these kids to grow? Why even bother taking the time to do this if you're gonna destroy the earth? So they're trying to stab him with rubber knives. By the way, the knives are made of rubber. And he's just like, that's great. And also, let's work on your homework. And further, he tailors his teaching to their needs. Like the aforementioned basketball or baseball game he went to, he went out of his way to go to that baseball game to help a student. So he flew across the world in order to help a student. To help a student by tailoring that student's lessons according to that student. Like, it's so funny hearing people say at my kid's school board that this book is a disservice to teachers. This is exactly the kind of teacher that you want for your kids. And further, these are the kind of students that need a teacher like that. Like, what do you think like actually happens? Do you think that he actually gets murdered by the student? At least not in volume 1. The whole thing is students finding out that a teacher, for some reason, who also wants to destroy the world, finds them worthy enough to teach, worthy enough to be more than this awful place that they've been relegated to. I think that the reason conservatives don't like this book is because it doesn't uphold educational hierarchies, because we know that good teachers do not uphold educational hierarchies. They tailor teaching according to their students and dismantle educational hierarchies by making each student feel like they deserve to be there. Koro Sensei makes it so clear that the school's assumptions about the students in particular are not true. They do have value. They are intelligent. He identifies their strengths. He works with them on their strengths. He is considerate of their individual learning styles. I mean, this is the kind of teacher that every student wants. And so to like label this as, see, kids want to shoot their teachers and now we're giving them a book where they shoot the teacher. We're giving them a book where a teacher actually cares and the students actually learn. So sure, the students are trying to kill the teacher because he asked, but the students don't kill the teacher, the students learn. And I think that it's obvious that the whole them trying to kill their teacher is like a deliberately provocative narrative device about rebellion. It's about rebelling against this very rigid educational system that has already failed them. But then they get to be actively engaged in changing their future, into reshaping what their future looks like. And that's because a teacher gave them a chance. Isn't that incredible? Like the subversive power of a good teacher. That's what this is about. When students are given the tools that they need to succeed, individuality, autonomy, support on an individual level, which is what an IEP is, Julie, they begin to change the systems and therefore succeed. This is about equity. That's why they hate this. It's about equity. It is criminal that I forgot while filming this about that book. I could have made such a good point here and in camera with my makeup on, but I guess I'll make it now. Teaching to Transgress by Bell Hooks is that book. It is exactly about this. I want to do the video now where I talk about this and Pedagogy of the Oppressed and Assassination Classroom. But the point is, there is a point to be made about Assassination Classroom in relation to what Bell Hooks says, who was a professor, about education as freedom, as a tool to freedom, and the relationship between student and teacher. If you can read this audiobook, please do so. And then also come back and talk to me about what you think the parallel is between this book and Assassination Classroom, if any. Okay, bye. It is an absurd and provocative premise, but it has a very hopeful message. Education is liberating. Now, this isn't Pedagogy of the Oppressed, but you could probably do a really, really interesting video comparing what you learn about Pedagogy of the Oppressed with the depiction of the student-teacher relationship and how they gain autonomy and therefore succeed in Assassination Classroom. But you know who doesn't want you to have that conversation? Conservatives who don't read it! Instead, they want to make this about something that it's not. For instance, Julie retweets things like this. Days after the Nashville tragedy, a Florida parent discovered a graphic novel series depicting heroic misfit students shooting their teacher. There are dozens of copies in Hillsborough School middle schools. Why do librarians think this is appropriate for 11-year-olds?
I cannot believe someone in our district, some media specialist in our district, I don't understand this at all, please help me understand, purchased 40, there's 2 more full sets of these books that were just purchased in the last week to be added to libraries. I'm not sure if it's middle school or high school. Who in their right mind adds Assassination Classroom books this week after what just happened in Nashville?
I just want to point out again that these people are so fucking predictable in their selective outrage. They don't say anything about gun violence unless a trans person does it. Deconstruction Girl, who you should follow on the internet, she's hilarious, has a tweet about this. Pastors describing how we have to fight the LGBTQIA+ agenda because it will destroy our children. 2 hours, 45 minutes, 23 seconds. Pastors speaking out against gun violence that's actually killing our children. 14 seconds. That's you. You literally did the thing that we predicted that you would say. It's pathetic. Your selective outrage is absolutely pathetic. And you know what's worse is that it doesn't help kids, which is what you and I should agree on. Time after time, cis men shoot up schools. One trans guy does it, and suddenly it's, oh my God, think of the children. I guess I shouldn't be surprised coming from the people who don't care that Donald Trump has felony charges and then flew in an actual rapist and tried to appoint another sexual predator to the office of Attorney General. I guess I shouldn't be surprised anymore. This isn't about protecting women or children. This is about your bigotry. I just wish that you'd get better at your arguments so you'd get better at cloaking it, but you can't even be relied upon to make a good argument and pretend that this is about that. You're so bad at this. You are so transparent. You are essentially plastic wrap. You have not provided a lick of evidence that Assassination Classroom leads to more school shootings. In fact, you still haven't provided any proof that you've read the entire thing. You didn't read it in the beginning when I did this video 2 years ago, and I don't think you've read it since. I don't think any of those people who showed up at my kid's school board complaining about it have read it since. I'm sitting here and I'm like, you could do an incredibly interesting essay on Assassination Classroom versus Pedagogy of the Oppressed. They don't even know what Pedagogy of the Oppressed is. And then they pretend that they care about teachers. I can't believe I have to share space with these people. I can't believe they get just as much speaking time as me at my kid's school board. How is that even, that's not even logical. You don't even know what that is. You do have to prove a causal relationship in order to make laws. In my opinion, I've talked about this. I just talked about this in another video recently where I was talking about abortion law. I'll play the clip. Regardless of whether one favors or opposes the abortion ban, it is vital that we assess the law's impact. A law cannot be justified merely because one likes its message. Even if we like the message of a law, it is valid only to the extent that it produces the results that are consistent with its message. And I think that that is a really powerful way to put something that I hadn't quite thought of before. And this is also this book informed the way that I do anti-censorship advocacy, because I demand evidence-based measures now because of this book. In order to justify making a law, you have to prove that the outcome of that law has the benefit that you're saying it's going to have. And you can't prove that in this case because the thing that you're insinuating is going to happen isn't happening in the first place. Instead, you are just doing anti-intellectual bullshit. This cannot have a causal relationship between reading it and school shootings because, again, I have to emphasize this, they are shooting at an alien octopus with BB guns. And missing! They are shooting at an alien octopus with BB guns and they are missing. And then this alien octopus tailors their educational experience to each individual student and the students are better for it. What about everything that I just said screams causal link between this and actual school shootings? There isn't one. I can't believe I have to sit here and explain this. It's honestly an insult to what little intelligence I have to have to explain such a basic fucking concept. I like Koro Sensei. He's funny. And you know who likes it? The teens and tweens who read this. It's funny that he travels around the world and makes the world emulate his face. It's funny that he travels all the way to Italy for gelato and then gets back in time for classes. He goes up to that baseball game in New York and then you find out later that the only reason he went to the baseball game was to help his student be a better pitcher, even though that student isn't allowed to play baseball because he's in class 3E. And they are banned from being able to enjoy sports, and yet he knew that student loved baseball, and he took an interest in helping that student anyway. Yeah, they're banned from being able to play sports. See how banning things is shitty? And what's interesting is I have seen y'all make a similar argument. You said that students shouldn't have access to books you don't like because our reading scores are so low. You brought in a bunch of women who don't have kids in the schools to back you up on that. They all said this. Why are our reading scores so low and yet we have these shitty books? What does that have to do with each other? What does self-selected material sitting in a library have to do with low reading scores? The kids aren't reading the books. How do the books you don't like sitting in a library that barely anybody's checking out have anything to do with lower reading scores? That has to do with getting better teachers, which y'all also were against. No wonder you don't like this book. Or maybe you just don't like jokes, because it is funny that while he's the people are trying to assassinate him, he's running around at Mach 20 painting their nails. Or a student tried to poison him once and he was like, oh, poison, I'll test it out. And he took it and he grew wings out the back of his head. It's just goofy. How would this goofy book cause a school shooting? And again, you have to prove causal relationship. You haven't even proved a correlational relationship. Correlated? What's the word? Help me out here. You haven't proved correlation. You certainly can't prove causation. But even if you could prove correlation, I would still tell you that you can say people who eat grapes also have tumors. But that doesn't mean that the grapes caused the tumors. Those things just happened at the same time. It doesn't mean that they have an actual causal relationship with each other. You have to prove that. I have to go back to this whole, you seem to be shitting on this book just because it's a manga, just because it's Japanese. Like, I can't not repeat that, because here's the thing is, I have seen so many movies with guns in them, and so have my kids. My kids have watched The Avengers, and your kids probably have too. I grew up watching the old Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies. Like, I did not think that I could don a suit and do violence upon criminals just because I was watching Spider-Man. Why would kids think that they could shoot their alien octopus teacher that they can't have? And what is the difference between watching The Avengers or Spider-Man and seeing there's guns in those movies? There's explosions, there's bombs. In the first Avengers movie, it's mostly just them running around New York shooting aliens. What's the difference? I don't think it's really about shooting an alien. I think it's about, number one, I think y'all don't like seeing Japanese media. I think that you guys are just xenophobic. And I also think that you don't like seeing a teacher care about students. I think that you guys genuinely hate good teachers. Like, over the last year, y'all have proved that to me. Especially because, Julie Gebhardt, isn't this you posting a media specialist on your profile and insinuating that she's providing porn to students? Yeah, I don't really trust you to decide what's right for teachers and what's not when you're causing media specialists to get harassed. This is about a teacher who humanizes his students, and I think you don't like that. And the overall content of the book is not being taken into consideration, which makes me think that I can't trust you to decide what content is good for my kids. That's up for me to decide, and I've actually read this book. So no, I won't be giving it to my 8, almost 9-year-old, and definitely not my 6-year-old, but when my kid is 12, maybe. He can check it out at the school library if it's still there, if you haven't gotten it banned. Or he can borrow it from me because I literally own a copy somewhere. My husband might have taken it. He's watched the anime. I have not. The only other thing we have not talked about is the last page, which bleeds into book 2. So the last page looks like this. This is a teacher named Irina, and she's, boobalicious. And yeah, she's like sexualized. I wouldn't want my 9-year-old looking at this because I just feel like it's like, I don't like playing into the idea that like boobs are funny. And also there is so much objectifying of other humans that I'm already trying to battle against and not have my kids like take part in as they grow, that I would have to have an entire conversation about just this page alone to explain that to them, that I don't think they are prepared to have, and I don't feel the need to have at this moment with them, so we're just not going to have them read it right now. Do I think that that actually constitutes sexual content, like by the Miller test, like prurient interest? No, not taken as a whole, and also there's a difference between like this boobalicious thing and like actual porn. As somebody who, part of my job is reading like actual erotica on this channel, I don't consider this to be erotica at all. It's just uncomfortable. That like at the end of the day, I'm not comfortable at this moment having a conversation with my kid about this picture. But my discomfort is not what we center when we decide what books are available for other people's older kids. I don't have a 12-year-old. I don't get to decide for other people's 12-year-olds what conversations they want to have with their parents, or their parents want to have with them, rather. Is this damaging to a 10-year-old? I don't think so, but I'm not a psychologist, so I don't know. I would have to have actual evidence presented to me in order to like decide that either way, right? But I wouldn't let my 10-year-old, my 9-year-old currently have it because I'm not comfortable and I'm not ready to have that conversation with him. But I don't want to make that decision for other parents who I think are equipped to have it. Some of them will be equipped to have it. When we think about kids at age 11, 12, 13, they're going through puberty. They already have questions, and there are times when we're going to have those conversations with them. Well, hopefully, if you've left yourself and your parenting situation with them open enough to have those conversations. If not, they're going to go have them with their friends. Good luck after that, because that's what happened to all of us whose parents didn't want to talk about sex. Now, the sexualization of Irina does get ramped up in book 2, where it's just like we are constantly doing like elbowing you jokes, like boob jokes, and I'm sick of it. Men making boob jokes is like the most unfunny thing on earth to me. But I grew up with media that did that. I mean, I grew up with so much media that did that.
We're like your biggest fans! Ka-chow!
I love being me.
I'm good at Chink's body!
Isn't that like in the Avengers as well?
Sorry. Don't turn green.
Jack Frost is one that comes to mind because all of the kids in my school, they all watched Jack Frost one weekend at some kid's house, and they all came back to my Christian school making jokes about the snowballs that land on his chest and their boobs.
What's going on?
Nothing.
Oh my gosh. So I'm like all boob joked out, right? So that's why I'm not having fun with Assassination Classroom Volume 2. But that doesn't mean, like, again, my discomfort does not mean that it is not gonna fly with other people's parents. Like, my own kid, he took, you know, those like cuties, oranges, he put 2 under his shirt and goes, "Look, I'm mama." And like, he thought that was really funny. And I was like, haha, like, sure, it's kind of uncomfortable. But again, like, I try not to let my discomfort dictate what everybody else is doing. I can only dictate what I'm doing and tell him, hey, I don't really appreciate boob jokes. I'm the only one in this house with boobs. So like, let's not make fun of boobs, even if we're just being kind of silly and goofy. So I can dictate my own house, but I don't want to dictate everybody else's house. There's no like real issue with boob jokes. It's literally just my discomfort. And my discomfort is not prescriptive. So while I'm kind of uncomfortable with like the amount of boob jokes, and also like there's a lot of like innuendo in Volume 2, I wouldn't say there's like actual sexual content in Volume 2. But again, my preference is I don't like Volume 2 and I'm having a hard time finishing it, but I can see why 13-year-old boys find it hilarious. I'm just trying to teach my kids to have a higher definition of comedy than boob jokes, personally. But if you never want your kid to have access to this, in Hillsborough County, and I assume in many other places as well, you can send in a note to your kid's media specialist that says, I don't want my kid to check out this list of books, or I don't want my kid having access to the library at all. If you want to do that, then you go ahead. That's your parental rights in education. Your parental rights in education stop at your kid, though. I'm not making your kid read this. I'm not making any kid read this. It's sitting in a library, and if you give permission, your kid can check it out. If you don't give permission, your kid can't check it out. This is not difficult. Parenting your own kid is not difficult. I wouldn't want my kid checking out a book where daughters have incestuous sex with their father without me having a conversation with my kid about that book before they read it, and yet my parents handed me it at 5 with my name engraved on it. It's a fucking Bible. If I'm able to make IEPs for both my kids, which I do, you can make a library plan for your kids and have them follow it. My kid's individual education plan does not affect your kid, and it shouldn't. Your kid's individual education plan shouldn't affect my kid, and it doesn't. You can do the same with your library plan. I do the same with my library plan. My kid came in here earlier. He's not allowed to read Bridge to Terabith yet. He will literally sob. I also don't let him watch Homeward Bound. He won't be able to handle it. Can you imagine? Well, you don't know him, but can you just take my word for it? The most sensitive person on this planet trying to watch Shadow climb out of that mud hole? Nope. Nope, he will have a breakdown. Absolutely not. So individualize your kid's library plan. It's not hard. I did it, and I don't like doing anything. But I don't want you making mine for me. If my kid and I want to have the conversation about Assassination Classroom when he's 12 and I no longer have my copy, or he wants to check out his own because I'm reading mine, or we want a buddy read it, then we should be free to do that. Now, don't say if you want it, you can buy it on your own, because then I have to tell you that you're just a classist piece of shit. Libraries exist to even the playing field amongst the classes. And if you don't care about evening the playing field amongst the classes, just say you're a classist and go. There's the door. But libraries are not dictated by what makes you comfortable, and everybody from every class status should have access to library books. And to leave this off, every kid should have a quality teacher that individualizes their education the way Koro Sensei does. All right, that's all I had to say about Assassination Classroom. I'm gonna wrap it up here. If you've read this, let me know. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. If you were swindled by Moms for Liberty and all of their nonsense about the book before I gave you the context, please let me know how that landed for you. I'm really interested to hear from people who hadn't heard anything about this yet. And as always, eat shit, Julie. Have a great day to the rest of you. Bye.
And before I go, I have to say thank you for being a friend. Therapyville's patrons, and those are Alexander, Andy, Ashley 8, Astra, Beck, Call Me Kodiak, Choco's Homesick for Taiwan, DJ Rocktopus, Ellie, Emerald Dodd, Eric, Jade L, John E, Jory, Julie D, K, Kai Brecker has not read Six of Crows. Kaleno K, Kelly K, Quinn, Lady Kittybug, Lady Chips, Lemon Jelly, Lex, Other Lex, Lily, Lisa L, Mataraptor, Max B, Megwin Rose, Melissa, Minby, Mixer Boneless, Not So Secretly a Skeleton, Peggy Luhu, Piloting SRN, Rain, Reese, SJ, Samar, Scarlet, Spoopy, Steph B, Super SMA Girl Lily, 3 Raccoons in a Trench Coat, Tori, Urchin Audrey, White Raven 13, and Zorvictia. Thank you all so much for being here and for being a friend. And a huge thank you to my potato starch Marxists, Adrian, Aaron, Alejandra, Ali Oxenfree, Althea, Amanda D, Angelica, Artie the Ninth, Ava, Barry B, Beck Lowe, Binging for Soup, Blue Moon Syrup, Bookish by Jenna, Bookish Rabbit, Bree, Bridget 108, Kate, Caitlin, Carlin, Carly, Casper, Kate W, Kat Cole, Colleen, Corwin, Cosmic Frog, Courtney, Darius, Danielle, Danita, Darren, Desiree Michelle, Dilf Enthusiast, Dorothea Supports Public Education, Draco-chan, Drive-By Thinker, Ebby, Emily A, Emma, Aaron with 2 E's, Erica May, Aaron Starlight, Gadarn, Hannah C, Helen P, Harising, JM Tennant, Jackalope Max, Jay is on Olympus, Jelly V, Jen Michelle, Genderqueer, Jenny G, Jessie Ives, Jessa Sue, Jill, Jojo Bookish, Juicy Wizard, who I just met in person at BugNetFest, and I was so excited. Caitlin M, Catherine, Katie, Katrina, Kayla, Kaylee, Kayala, Kendra, KMTV, Kayana, Laughing Cat Dog, Laura is Angry, Lauren G, Lazarus Ray, Lindsay M, LP, Lou Siri, Lustful Octopus, Martin, Macy Jane, Maddie, Madison, Man-Eating Plant, Megan, Malara, May, Mima Who, Morgan P, Myth Lesbian, Nicole G, Oxford, supporter, same, Paige P, Penelope, Penny Chilling, Foxglove, Pick a God and Pray, Plague Carrier, Pandemonium, Queen Cereal, Rachel B, Rebecca R, Ren, Flynn, Rhea, Ronnie, Rosie Thorns, Sikoria, Sadie, Saintbringer, Sakia Lume, Sarah H, Sarah the Bear, Shamed, Shannon, Sheen Onion, Sean, Sophie, Talia, That One Cute Chick, This Is Not a Trap, Tiana, Too Thick to Work to Get Today, Triple M, Tito Phoenix, Unicorn Jenny. Thank you all so much for being here and for being a friend.